So if we have open and honest conversation about what America is and how America came to be, how do you tell the story without telling about the American slave and his significant role in American history? But they'll tell you about George Washington. George Washington had slaves. They'll tell you about Thomas Jefferson. He owned slaves too, but he wrote the Declaration. You see, Skip? But he wrote the Declaration of Independence. What about the slaves that he had? What about slaves?
He even had kids with him.
Yeah, and that wasn't by choice. Stanley Hibbert was 14 years old.
Yep.
So in other words, and he took across state lines and across seas for immoral purpose. But that's Skip, I don't want to get too far to that. But you know what I'm talking about. So if we tell the story of America in its totality, truthfully, honestly, white America can't deal with that, Skip. Because they want to feel that we discovered it because we wanted a better way of life and we yada, yada, yada. But that's not it. And so you're going to have to rewrite history. All those history books will have to be burned. Instead of sidebars and footnotes, the African American would have to be featured very prominently. And I don't know if America really wants to do that. I really don't.
Have you ever sat down and had a conversation with a white man about race relations like you just
No.
had?
Because anytime we talk about race, the first day they talk about, well, Shannon, what about black on black crime?
This is why you can't trust anything you see from conservatives. The End Wokeness Twitter account claimed that this graph shows that everything that the media has been telling you about interracial crime is a lie, showing that black on white crime is the highest. Turns out, using that exact same source, that just isn't true. In fact, white on white violence is the highest. And if you look at the End Wokeness graph, conveniently none of these bars are white on white crime. I wonder why that is. They do it because they want to make it seem like there's some kind of epidemic of black people killing white people. And for those who say, well, this one is per capita, and this one isn't, well, I did the math for you. Not only does white on white crime eclipse black on white crime dwarfs black on white crime. And if we look at the same data that End Wokeness graph uses, we can see that the offenders on white crime are 62% of the time white, and only 15% of the time black.
So we all know that this is a bullshit lie. Just to clarify. But I'm a nerd, and I love nothing more than searching the internet for statistical data that's right at your fingertips. And you can go to this website, and it's literally easy access to the FBI supplementary homicide reports, 1980 to 2020. And you can pick any year. So let's pick 2020, since that's the last year that they have data for. You can pick the characteristic of the victim. Let's do white people. And you can pick the characteristic of the offender. Let's do black people, since you seem to think that black people kill more white people. Show the table. Da, 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 da. So race of the victim, race of the offender, black offender, white victim. 1,353. Then we go back to the beginning and we leave the victim as white, but then this time, let's make the offender also white. Okay, show the table. Drum roll, please. Bam, 4,979. I wonder, is that what you would call white on white crime? And if you want to dig a little deeper, you can go to this Crime Data Explorer and you can, again, select the year. Let's do hate crimes. And let's do select the year, select, and include the previous 5 years. Let's do, boom, hate crime. Okay. So anti-Black or anti-African American bias, 10,615 incidences. Well, actually there was 20,896 if you want to get technical. But the victims were Black or African American, anti was this number. Now let's scroll down here and look at the race of the offenders. Oh shit, white people. 16,756 white people committed hate crimes in the past 5 years. Now, remind me again who you think the problematic demographic is in this country.
We're like the only race of people that they tell us to forget our history.
Right.
Everybody else, you know,
fine.
the Japanese would be like, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, we're going to let you know so it doesn't repeat itself.
Even 9/11.
9/11. The Jewish people, Holocaust, don't you forget that shit. That shit's not going to happen.
Right.
Armenian slaughter, every other
Yes.
person. And then they'll all ask us to support them.
Yes.
In their plight.
Yep,
And
it's
we
true.
will
When
go,
you say-
you're right.
Yes.
And we'll protest with
What
them.
about slave?
What about slavery? Oh, fuck. Slavery.
So true.
They just want us to continue to entertain, give them creative ideas so they can steal all of that shit.
Yes.
We are the only motherfuckers that they tell to forget about our history. The shit is so disgusting.
Disgusting.
When you go to a doctor's office, what's the first thing they do? They pull out your medical history.
Right.
Because we have to assess what is happening now. We got to look back and see, okay, let's see what happened. You were last time you were here, this happened.
Right.
That's how you're able to move forward. If you watch a baseball game or a basketball game, what are the announcers talking about? Well, last year he last week he had 5 shots. That's
pass.
normal.
pass
Your
is what
past
you're
is
supposed to look
normal,
at.
so we can assess what's
I'm gonna
going
go
on.
deeper. When you go to court,
Oh yeah, yeah.
nigga, you got your case.
Let's
Them
look at your
motherfuckers bring
record.
out your
They
past.
bring out your
In
past.
1987, such committed a fucking crime. Like, hey, I'm not like that no more. Can you forget? I was 12. Right? Can you forget? They don't forget.
Because it might repeat.
Yeah.
I was
But that's
12.
why they bring it up to you. Go, we don't
Yep.
want that shit to repeat.
It's so true.
And they don't use that same philosophy on
true.
African American history or African history because I really believe this. We are so deeply hated around the world. They hate us so much.
right, it's so true.
And if they're not making money off of, if they're not benefiting sexually, monetarily, culturally, they don't think of us as
And the
human
reason why I
beings.
say that you're so right, Godfrey, for years I was in my own bubble. Like, I would just go through life not giving a fuck about nothing. Like,
Yeah.
getting money, just chilling. And I really started getting into knowing our history over the last
Good.
9-10 years,
It's
right?
amazing.
And what people really don't understand, see, America is white supremacy. They're going to promote
The
the
world.
thing. And it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But what people, if you read the Pope,
Yeah.
prays to a black Jesus, a black Madonna.
A black Madonna in the Vatican.
In his private chambers. Black.
Black. Oh, yeah.
It's not a secret.
Not at all.
This
no.
is a fact.
No.
Yes.
Not only that, but the Black Madonna is a replication from Isis and Heru,
Yes.
the Egyptian gods, Asar, Aset, or Isis
doubt.
and Osiris, which
I
is the
didn't
Greek.
know
But
that.
Asar and Aset, and the Black Madonna is Isis and Heru,
Yes.
Okay.
or Horus.
Now to the white
And
people.
that's where they got Superman. Superman. The story of Superman is Egyptian.
Wow.
They stole that from Supergirl and
Yeah, yeah.
Superman. All set. Heru is
Yeah.
Superman.